einer der sehr erfolgreichen 15 zur PDC im vergangenen Jahr und es läuft bei ihm inzwischen immer besser. Hat zuletzt 3 Halbfinals in Folge erreichen können und somit heißen wir ihn herzlich willkommen, den Jammy Dodger James Wilson. James Wilson tritt gegen den einzigen Starter aus Südafrika an. Er kommt aus Kapstadt, er lebt seit einigen Jahren aber in England wegen seiner Profi-Darts-Karriere. Hat im vergangenen Jahr sein erstes Viertelfinale bei einem Major-Turnier erreicht. Das war bei den UK Open und zweifelsfrei. Er hat den heißesten Hüftschwung nach Shakira. This time's for Africa. Herzlich willkommen, the Spartan Devon Petersen.
You're a good soldier, choosing your battle. And if you fold it up, cause this is Africa. This time for Africa.
Final game of the night here at the Happy Bet European Darts Grand Prix, and Big Devon's just hit the dab in front of the crowd here in Sindelfingen and the Glass Palast. Not quite as up-to-date dance moves from the jammy dodger James Wilson, but it was certainly as enthusiastic. He's the happiest man in darts, this man. And he's ready, I'm told.
So ready.
So ready. To take on Big Devon for a place in the second round. Ian White awaits the winner of this one, the Diamond. Well, he's number 3 seed this weekend. But I tell you what, Devon Petersen and James Wilson, it's a first round tie. Whoever comes through that will be a very, very tricky opponent for one of the seeded players. Obviously, Izzy and White this weekend. But you always get these first round encounters where it's a couple of guys who, you know, they're not in the very top echelons of the PDC, but they're both at top 64, both solid, tall card holding places. And James Wilson particularly has been playing some very good darts of late. We shall see if it's another strong weekend from the Jammy Dodger. Dan Dawson to talk you through the final game of the night, and Paul Nicholson alongside me.
Well, if Devon Petersen can win this match,
first leg, it's James to throw first. Game on!
he would get a rematch with Ian White, and hopefully might go for the right double in the 11th leg. But he has got someone in his way who is playing some delightful stuff right now. Arguably playing the best darts of his career so far. And that's a thing to say, of course, because when he was in the BDO, he was playing some very good stuff and he made it to world #1 over there. But at the moment, it just seems to me like he's got another level of confidence. And when he gets that first dart in, he is just incredible to watch.
100.
Yeah, he's very much a man in the mould of the Diamond, Ian White, is James Wilson, in that when he's on the oche,
140.
you'd think he was quite a sort of dour character. But as soon as he gets about, I don't know, 18 inches away from the oche, he's all smiles and bouncing around and acting like an overgrown toddler. But it is very much business
41.
time when James Wilson addresses that oche. And back-to-back semi-finals on the Pro Tour. We obviously saw him have a run at the European
28.
Tour as well, and that is, he just seems to be fulfilling the potential that we thought he had. I mean, it was 3 semi-finals in a row in actual fact with that run to the semis earlier on this month.
140.
In another ton 40 to leave himself 80. Devon, that looks a great dart for Devon. I'm confused, that didn't find the mark.
James
Well, it'd be good that he
80.
didn't add to that 60 from the first dart, because it was a peach, like you say, Dan. This 80, though, a lovely looking finish. Should get a dart at tops and does. Has to move to the right just to skirt that second shot.
40.
It's not in.
Devon to require 133.
Well, it's 3 short of the bust shot. Remember that double 11?
Of course.
He had 136. Went for double 8 and a double 11 and it fell out.
93. James to require 40.
Against Kevin Painter of all people. Oh, is your luck. tops for the Jammy Dodger.
Game
And
shot,
there it
the first leg.
is. Wilson goes
second
into the
leg,
lead
Devon
with a hold of
throw
throw.
first.
They've met a couple of times, these two. It's one win apiece. It was
60.
in qualifying for this event last year that Devon got his win. Managed to win that one 6-2. But it was in qualifying for the Dutch Darts Masters last year that Wilson won his. So they've met on the European Tour, sort of. Both qualifying events for it.
93.
Both held in the UK, of course. The UK qualifiers, Devon, a South African, obviously. Plays the UK qualifiers
60.
as a tour card holder based in the UK.
Correct. We have a lot of red and black on stage. We have a lot of red and black on the dartboard. And they'll be zeroing in on that red net, just like James Wilson has just done.
Yeah, very different, similar dart shirts, these two. But very different approaches to the nickname. Obviously, Big Devon, named after the mighty warriors of the Spartans. And James Wilson, named after a biscuit.
There's no other way to put it. It's a biscuit.
92.
Or if you're American, it's a cookie. Well, I think tonight, obviously, this is the last game of the night. Scheduled time was 10:30 p.m. local time. These guys, it's not a bad draw, in my opinion, because if you're scheduled on 10:30 at night, you can have dinner at regulation time,
100.
and you're not going to be
Devon,
full of food. You're going to have plenty of time for it to
122.
digest and take your time to get here around about 7 o'clock, 7:30. I think playing last is not a bad draw, because you don't have
90.
to worry about playing
James
too early.
requires 76.
I know James Wilson is really good at the moment on this European circuit. He's just got a look in his eye that I like.
Double
Zeroing
18.
in at double 18, yeah.
58. Devon, you require 32.
So, double 16, Devon.
Game
There it
shot, the second
is.
leg. Devon Petersen.
Do you want to put the
Third leg,
asterisk
James
next to that one?
first.
Double
Game on.
16, Devon. And there was a look on his face there. And I was just putting my own little speech bubble next to it, saying, oh, that's where it is.
Yep, that is where it is. It was double 16 as Wilson fires in.
180.
First 180 of this encounter. Devon looking to respond, but can't follow with the second dart. Yeah, it was double 16 he had for the match against Ian White. He went for double 8. And then he went for double 4. Then he went for double 2. And he hit it. And he celebrated. 16 scored.
It may be the loneliest celebration in the history of the game, because the fans didn't say anything, the referee didn't say anything, but Devon said something rather loud.
140.
Second time he's done that particular one. And he does say, like I was talking about it with him earlier, and he said that, you know, I'd have been inconsolable were it not for the fact I knew I was here this weekend, so I had a chance to make up for it.
100.
But he also said, well, look, I know I've done that twice, and it's not a miscount. It's not it's a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't, you know. But he also pointed out that
100. James
on both
require
occasions,
121.
he hit the double.
That's what you call glasses half full.
Wow. Taking the positive from it as Wilson looks to take out 1-2-1. Oh, lovely dart. Double 14 for 2-1. Yeah, what a finish that is. 121 check out, 12 darter.
Devon a throw first.
Well, you mentioned that Ian White was very unassuming and just a business-like kind of guy.
60.
The celebration from James Wilson for hitting that 1-2-1 was, yep,
Yeah, it's almost non-existent.
that's it. It's all it takes. I guarantee you this, if he wins the match, we might see him jumping up and down again.
121.
He is quite a bouncy character, but only when the game is done and dusted.
Like Devon Petersen was dancing on the stage at the start of the match with no dancers, and it looked very strange. We're getting used to him synchronizing his dances with the dancers, and it looked brilliant with the front on cam. I wonder if James Wilson's on TV with dancers, maybe we should get them to synchronize with the Jammy
43.
Dodger.
Well, I mean, you can always ask the question. I think James has got his move, and he sticks with it. I mean, to be fair,
100.
Dimitri Vandenberg's got his one move, and he sticks with that. It's a little bit more elaborate than James Wilson's. You see Gerwyn Price in the crowd there, among others.
Joe Cullen as well, Devon's best mate. Partners in crime.
99.
Both Cullen and Gerwyn Price seeded for this weekend, and they will be entering the action tomorrow.
100.
We've been seeing a lot of Devin Petersen over the course of the summer and the end of the summer. He's been in a lot of these events, and that just goes to show that the qualifiers hold no fear to him. We've seen a lot of James Wilson as well.
180. Devin require 100.
And that changes the complexion of this leg, because that 180 has put him way in front.
47. James require.
Next thing you know, it could be a break. Get that two-leg gap. And he's not the kind of guy to look back. Tops it is for 3-1. Not even a guide. He says, come on.
18.
Well, it wasn't a guide, but he decided to
require
use it as
94.
such. And they were way off, but Devon's found the 25. Oh, he's missed a big number. That is an absolutely criminal dart from Devin Petersen. It actually looked all right to have a go at the bullseye had he just hit the big number.
Don't get greedy.
46. James require 40.
Well, he'll want to be a little bit closer than his last two darts at tops. And it is closer.
Game
And that
shot on
one,
a
he
full
can't get
flag.
any closer. That's
James
in there. It is the
Wilson,
first breaker
fifth
throw.
leg, James to throw first.
James Wilson opens
Game
up
on.
a little gap here. He's now throwing to extend it further.
We had a chat in Risa when James Wilson was having such a good run about some problems in
41.
his game when he first decided to join the PDC. And he had a lot of darts on the floor for whatever reason, and his darts were slapping against the
43.
board, and he was wasting points in a lot of legs. I actually saw it first time when he played me once, and I thought, he's such an incredible player. Why are these darts always going on the floor? It looks like a change of points, and now he's doing that, as opposed to potentially that would have been an 80 score before, because the angle of attack, maybe a heavier point,
60.
just going into the board with more authority.
Yeah, he has tweaked his equipment. We saw him earlier on this year with flights that were similar to the ones he's got it, but they almost looked like they were put in back to front or upside
57.
down. A curious looking flight. Devon looks like his flights are taking a bit of a batter. He's certainly one of them.
140.
Nothing wrong with that, though.
Devon hasn't really changed much about his equipment over the years that we've known him. He's always favoured the black coloured dart. Always had a very medium type stem and a big flight.
99.
There was a time where he tried the slim ones, and he played okay with them, but he does play better with the big ones. It just gives him a bit more stability to do things like that.
100.
Just like that, and it's Devon Petersen's turn to fire in a 180 to leave himself very well set, but this would be a brutal outshot. Absolutely brutal were Wilson to take it out. Just above the treble 20, so Petersen will get a go at the 78.
100. Devin
Wilson is quite
requires
handily
78.
placed himself. Is he going to get one dart? Oh, he might not even get that, you know. Yes, I know, Devon. I know what you were thinking. And the chance has
38.
slipped away, and
James
Wilson,
requires 64.
he should get at least one dart, and it may well be two.
May well be two, but Devin Petersen's having words with himself right now. Favour the treble eights, now favours tops, which he's hit.
44.
Now, he had one go
Devin,
way
you
too high the
require
previous
40.
time. Now it's way too low. So Petersen gets away with it. Lovely guide.
Oh,
Almost too good.
No score.
didn't get anywhere near those ones. Did he think that maybe the
James
second dart was
requires
covering
20.
too much of the bed, that he couldn't use it, had to go over to the right? Either
I
way,
think so.
didn't find the target, and that could
Game
prove
shot
to
in
be
the fifth
decisive,
leg.
because it would have been a
James
breaker throw and he's
Wilson,
taken it
six-leg
out, but
Devon
James Wilson has now opened up a
first.
3-leg gap, and it is a long way back for Devon Petersen.
I think you're right, Dan. When he's thrown the first one, which is a
94.
brilliant guide, he's thrown the second one for the guide, but it's kicked downwards. It's covered the bed, so he's had to go to the right-hand side, give it a try, didn't hit. James Wilson, lethal, double 10, 4-1.
Well, he decided that there was enough
60.
of the bed there, and there was enough of the bed there just to go for the open target. Some players might have taken a little half step and just tried to come off the side. If it was covering a lot of the bed, you'd think he might have been a
85.
barrier there where you could just nestle in alongside it. But, you know, different strokes, different folks, isn't it?
If you were Peter Wright, you'd probably just bend down a little bit and just still go underneath, a la Dublin in the Premier League.
43.
just throw it up into it.
Isn't it funny how nobody has done that ever before, and I don't think anybody will ever do it again.
Not outside of an exhibition, certainly. Well, this is what Devon would have wanted from this position. Just like a nice easy leg without a great deal of pressure. And unless James Wilson fires in another 60 here, and he doesn't, so there is plenty of time for Devon just to get another leg on the board, give himself a chance at whatever double he fancies. 80 scored, 102 left, and that's fine. Go for the bullseye and end up on double 16 or double top, depending on what happens, you would think.
It's not often in a game you get a breather, especially in best of 11. But James Wilson is able to have a breather now, but I tell you what, he's not giving up. Just in case Devon doesn't hit this 82, so 62, he's got to go treble 10. Another one of those will leave a double, which he can come back for. Double 16, Devon.
Yeah, well, he
just reinforcing
nailed
that
it in the second leg.
in bold with little inverted commas.
I'm going to credit Devon to say that he's learnt his lesson. He may prove me wrong.
Devon didn't require.
Now then, Devon, don't let me down, my man. He looks to be going for it. Yeah, never in doubt. Never in doubt. As Big Devon pulls one back.
James the throw first. Game on.
Now, this is the leg where Devon could really get back into the match. It's basically a game-changing leg, I think. 5-2 up to James Wilson.
60.
All credit to Devon Petersen, but I don't see a way back. If it's 4-3, it's game on.
Devon has to apply pressure and does apply pressure. Good start from the big man.
Well, we're looking at 89 averages at the moment. Just shy of 30 per dart. And I know the kind of player that James Wilson is, especially. He'll want that first 9 average at 100 and above. If he sees it below 100, it's not good enough.
134.
But it's Petersen who's got the march here.
This is it. I mean, look, you've got a man who is throwing for a 5-2 lead, despite the fact that the averages is barely anything in it. There's barely anything in the checkout stats as well. But Devon is looking good. This is a strong challenge from Petersen in this leg. And as you say, if he breaks, he'd be throwing to level the match at 4-4. If he doesn't, he's got to win 4 consecutive legs. So, I mean, that really puts into perspective how massive a moment in the game is coming up here. 140 gets Wilson down to a manageable finish, albeit a big one. But he doesn't need to use the bullseye. Treble 19 for Bull. Bullseye for Petersen. He's had a look. He's got to go for it. He's got to. He does. He's not far off.
Did the right thing. We saw earlier that not going for the shot can sometimes go awry. But James Wilson is not going to hit this 160, so Devon can now fix this situation with a 9 and a double 8. 9 it is. 2 8s, 4-3, 2 4s.
17.
So now Wilson has a chance to get that little lead
100.
even bigger.
We said how important this leg was. Petersen has had darts, 3 darts for it. It looks a good guide for the treble 20. Yeah, it did look good, and he's had one of those who just caught the flight and slapped off the side of the board. That's not really anything he's done that wrong. It's just smashed into one of those big flights. Take the power out of it.
Leg.
And Petersen does pull it back to 4-3, and he's throwing now to level the match, and how different things seem.
I had a sneaky feeling he might have gone tops, but the dart that came on the floor, that's what I'm talking about. That happened a lot more often in the previous 18 months, but he seems to have fixed it on the whole. That, like you say, Dan, is just one of those cases where it hit the flight and it wasn't going to go on the board.
It did look inviting for the treble 20, didn't it? I mean, I love a tops finish, don't get me wrong, but it would seem a waste not to try and use that dart to find your way to the treble 20.
It depends how much you like double 10.
Well, yeah, I suppose it does.
And he does, because he's already hit it in this match. It's getting pretty edgy up there. There's a few snatchy darts coming out now. Last game of the night. We've got some very intrigued fans out there and some intrigued players in the audience, as if to say, well, I don't know who's going to win this match now, because the tides have turned.
Yeah, they really have. You know, 4-1 for James Wilson, having won 3 consecutive legs, and looked to be playing it, just sort of
59. They would require 161.
moving through the gears, but right now Petersen has come back very strongly at him, and
53.
Wilson has faded a little.
Well, we were saying that James Wilson was ready, so ready. Is he ready for a best-of-3 scrap at the end of this game? Because that's what it's looking like it's going to be.
They would require 108.
And there's every chance of that. That's a great dart from Devon Petersen, and that means he's got double 16.
76. James require 100.
Again, it's another one where if Wilson can take out a massive one, it could be a killer blow. And he might do it, you know. Treble 19. Oh, my word, it wasn't far off. And even Wilson must have fancied it when he let go of it.
32.
Double 8. Double 8 for a level game.
It's awkward.
16.
It's very awkward. And now that setup shot from James Wilson.
require 28.
It's like a pitching wedge from 100 yards to about 3 feet. He's just lipped out. And he's hauled it.
On the 8th leg.
Oh, that
James
really
Wilson,
turns the game on its head.
James
Devon
the
Petersen
front
had
first.
4-4 right in the
Game
palm
on.
of his hand. But he's let it slip. Now James Wilson only needs 1 leg. Instead of going into that best-of-3 scrap, now he just needs to win 1 leg.
Yeah, and with the throw in 2 of them, and Devon Petersen had 4 darts in that
81.
leg, it would have been 3 consecutive legs, and 3 legs which he had won relatively convincingly had he gone out first or second dart in
96.
that last leg.
And as a dart player, when you're in that situation, it is so infuriating. You've done everything right. You've got 3 clean darts at a double. You've missed one in the previous visit, yes, but that's gone. But when you've got 3 darts in your hand at your favourite corner of the board, and you are the one that missed them, and you've gifted your opponent that opportunity,
121.
all you're doing in your own head is saying, why did I do this to myself?
It's like snakes and ladders, isn't it? He worked hard, dragged himself back from 4-1. He had 4 darts to level it at 4 apiece. Now suddenly he finds he needs to win another 3 legs in the spin. As
20.
Wilson has one cannon out of the points there. But he has left 164 the match, and Devon's not going to leave a finish. So
100.
James Wilson's got 6 darts
James
from 160, and the primary
160.
objective here is stay straight. At the very least, leave yourself a level ton. Oh, dear me.
Commentator's curse. Now he's got to go back to 20s.
40.
So 120 is okay, but Petersen can change things again if he can get a 60. Got one, he wants another. Gets another.
40.
This game keeps us guessing more than a game of Connect 4.
Oh, well, he's going to get a dart. He has to get a dart. Single 20 for double top. Wilson for 6-3.
Game
There
shot.
it is, and James
And the
Wilson
match,
closes it
James
out. It wasn't the
Wilson.
greatest setup, but the execution for the Shanghai, superb from the Jammy Dodger. And it is Wilson who charges into the next round. He will face Ian White, the number 3 seed. We've seen 15 players through on the opening day of the Happy Bet European Darts Grand Prix. James Wilson, the latest among them. Raymond van Barneveld, Max Hopp and Martin Schindler, a couple of Germans in the second round. We'll grab a few words of James Wilson, return tomorrow from Sindelfingen at the Glass Palace when the big boys enter the fray.
He's getting there. You know, Devon, I know he's a good player. It's late at night. You know, I think we're both a bit tired. It's hard work when it's last game on.
You reached 3 semi-finals in a row now. Is it difficult to stay patient, to wait for the next step, for the final, for a tournament win?
Yeah, I mean, you're in your hotel room and you're waiting, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then eventually you get to play, and that's when you've got to bring your game towards, you know, the board. And really, it's really tiring. But once you get used to it, I'll start moving up.
Ian White is the next one.
Yeah, Ian White, good friend of mine. Looking forward to that one.
Looking forward to that match. Thank you very much. James Wilson.